If you're looking for hiking boots for the Camino de Santiago for other long-distance hikes, or even just for day hikes, then in this video I have 10 tips for you today. Based on my experience, these tips can hopefully help you find hiking boots that really fit your feet, that you feel comfortable in, and that will help you stay healthy and fit. The first tip I have for you is that you absolutely must try on your hiking boots when choosing them. Test, test, test. This is super important because you can't just say, in general, this hiking boot is suitable for you, or this hiking boot isn't suitable for you, since feet are often very individual. And that's why you absolutely have to try on your hiking boots. Of course, the very best way is to do this at a specialty store, in person. And in some stores, like Globetrotter, for example, there are even small test courses that simulate mountainous terrain where you can already get a good sense of whether the shoe might fit. And if you order shoes online, then definitely test them at home as well. And if they don't fit, send them back and order different ones. You can also read all my tips and my shoe recommendations again below this video. There you'll find the link to my blog, where I've also linked my recommendations for you. The second tip I have for you is that you should definitely buy your hiking boots at least half a size larger than your everyday shoes. In some cases, it's even a whole size larger. That's simply because if you spend many hours a day in your hiking boots and walk many kilometers, your foot actually, even though it sounds strange, swells up a bit and gets bigger while walking. That's why you absolutely need plenty of space in your shoe. And ideally, you should have about a thumb's width of space at the front, space between your big toe and where the shoe ends. You should definitely pay attention to this. It's one of the most important things. And if you don't do that, as I've experienced myself, in the worst case, it can even lead to bloody feet if there's simply not enough space at the front. Tip number 3 about hiking boots. From my experience, what I've noticed over the years and also heard from talking to others is that the trend is actually moving more away from those classic heavy hiking boots that people used to wear a lot in the past on pretty much all hikes. And as they are still sometimes recommended in shoe stores, the trend is moving away from that and more towards lighter shoes. And of course, it always depends on what you have planned. If you're doing an alpine crossing, then it might make sense to really have high hiking boots. But if, for example, you're walking the Camino de Santiago, where you cross a lot of different types of terrain and landscapes, where you sometimes have stretches of asphalt, longer sections, sometimes you walk through the forest, then you go up a mountain over roots and rocks, then you have another section along a dirt road or across a meadow. So the terrain on the Camino de Santiago is very changeable. And for that, you don't necessarily need such heavy, high hiking boots, especially since I looked it up, and apparently there are now studies from the American military and also from the University of Innsbruck, which show that it's actually not true that very high hiking boots, the ones that go over the ankle, really protect your foot better from twisting than lower hiking shoes do. They help your foot move a little better to move. But studies have now actually proven that it's not true that you have a lower risk of injury if you wear high hiking boots compared to just wearing mid-height hiking boots. And that's why I would definitely encourage you to try out different hiking boots and not to just immediately reach for the heavy hiking boots as you might be used to or as I used to do, because they're simply very bulky and have a lot of weight. And you have to consider that with every step you take, every time you lift your foot, you have to lift all that weight as well. And over time, that can really make a big difference if you're wearing lighter hiking shoes when you're out and about. I've noticed this myself, and that's why I would definitely encourage you to try out different hiking shoes and not just stick to one type from the start, especially not just the classic bulky ones. Hiking boots. And what you see more and more often, for example, on the Camino de Santiago as well. And what I've also heard from my community with whom I'm in contact is that people are not only wearing mid-cut hiking shoes instead of hiking boots, but that there are actually more and more people who are wearing trail running shoes for hiking and for pilgrimage walks. Precisely for the reasons I just mentioned, that you're not only walking over rough terrain and high mountains with scree, but you also have sections of asphalt, and you're simply always dealing with changing terrain. And that's where trail running shoes or even lightweight hiking shoes simply have an advantage because they're often more breathable. That means you don't sweat as much in them. And that's, of course, super important so that blisters don't form as quickly. Tip number 4 is whether your shoes should be waterproof or not. I used to always say, definitely make sure that your shoes are waterproof. Now, with the latest knowledge I have, I probably wouldn't say that anymore. Instead, what I would suggest is this. Think about which season and for what purpose you want to buy your hiking shoes. For example, if you're walking the Camino de Santiago in the middle of summer, I don't think I would recommend waterproof hiking shoes because you'll simply sweat much more in them than in non-waterproof shoes. But if you're walking the Camino de Santiago in the absolute off-season, for example, in March or October, or doing any other long hiking tour, then it can definitely be useful to have waterproof hiking shoes. And if you're getting your shoes for the whole year, meaning for all kinds of tours and different seasons, then ultimately, well, there's no right or wrong. You just have to weigh your options and maybe try out what works better for you. When you buy hiking shoes that are waterproof, you can recognize them by the fact that GTX is always included in the name of the shoe model, and that stands for Gore-Tex, which is the waterproof membrane that protects the shoe from water. And many shoes are available in both versions, both waterproof and non-waterproof. And one point that you might not really have on your radar is that if you buy non-waterproof shoes and it ends up raining, then yes, they will get wet, but they dry much faster than shoes with a Gore-Tex membrane. Because once those get wet, it takes quite a long time for them to dry again. And if, for example, you're out and about in the summer and there's a brief shower, but then it just gets warm again afterwards and the sun is shining, then you're giving your shoes, even if they're not waterproof, the chance to dry out relatively quickly. And that can definitely be a reason to sometimes go without waterproof shoes. But as I said, it depends on what season and for what purpose you're buying your hiking shoes. Then tip number 5 that I have for you, super important, definitely break in your hiking shoes. It's not enough to just wear them for 5 minutes. You should definitely walk several kilometers in them. Ideally, do 1 or 2 trial hikes, and under no circumstances should you buy the shoes and then basically start a long distance hike with them the very next day, because that can be really dangerous for your feet. Tip number 6, definitely wear high quality hiking socks in your hiking boots. This is actually another factor that affects how healthy your feet stay, especially if you're planning a multi-week hike. It's not just about the hiking boots, but the hiking socks also play a really big role. So don't underestimate this point. Just buy yourself a few good pairs of hiking socks. If you're walking the Camino de Santiago, 2 to 3 pairs of hiking socks are enough, either from Ride Sock or from Falk. Those are the best known brands that I can recommend and that I use myself. So don't try to save money here, just buy them. Definitely go for high quality hiking socks, and it will help keep your feet healthier, reduce the number of blisters you get, and simply allow you to enjoy your time hiking more. Tip number 7, also very important, Hirsch talc cream, which you can get in any drugstore in Germany at least. I've heard that in other countries it's either not available at all or only very hard to find. And that's what I would recommend if you're going to be out hiking for several weeks. Buy yourself Hirsch talc cream and apply it. Use it to thoroughly cream your feet in the morning before the hike and again in the evening after the hike. This also helps to keep your feet properly moisturized, and it simply makes them less likely to develop blisters so quickly. Tip number 8, which is if you're walking the Camino de Santiago or doing a similar long distance hike, then definitely remember to take off your hiking boots in the evening. Give your feet a bit of fresh air and ideally change your shoes. And I wouldn't recommend making the same mistake I did, and don't bring a second pair of sneakers because that's just way too much weight. Instead, take either sandals as your second pair of shoes or something like flip-flops or Crocs, which you can also wear in the bathrooms at the accommodations and hostels. But they're also good if you want to take a short walk at your destination for the day. And it's just a good idea to take something like that because they're relatively light and because your feet also get some fresh air. And ideally, you shouldn't spend the last hours of the day trudging around in your hiking boots as well. You should avoid that. Tip number 9. This isn't important for everyone, but for some people it could be really helpful and important. Namely, if you already have foot problems from time to time, when hiking, jogging, or just walking in everyday life, if you notice this, then consider whether you should go see an orthopedist or to a specialty store for insoles like a medical supply store and have real orthopedic or medical insoles made for you which are specially fitted to your foot. That was the case for me as well. Back then, I had pain in my foot while jogging. At first, I ignored it, then it got worse, and then I finally had it checked out. And now I have these custom insoles, and with them, I can walk without pain again. And that could really be important, especially if you're planning a longer hike. Of course, there are many more options here as well, like experimenting with barefoot shoes, for example. Alternatively, you could incorporate specific strengthening exercises for your ankles, or simply enjoy walking around completely barefoot in the summer, whenever you have the chance during the season. But if you're planning a longer trip now, maybe get it checked out, especially if you've had pain there before. And tip number 10, this one is a bit in my own interest. If you're planning to order hiking boots soon, please feel free to use my partner link below this video, or use a partner link from one of my blog articles. By doing so, you simply support me and make it possible for me to continue making videos like this, which I hope will help you with hiking, pilgrimage, and gear topics. So that wraps up my 10 tips from my own experience on buying hiking boots. I'm looking forward to hearing your opinion. If you have a favorite that you absolutely love when it comes to hiking boots, then feel free to write the model below this video as well. If you have a question, just leave it in the comments below. I'll try to answer it. And if this video helped you, then definitely remember to give me a thumbs up because that really helps my channel. And then I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. I wish you a wonderful time. Stay healthy and goodbye.